When thinking of fetishes, what comes to mind? Futanari, netawari, vor, or maybe even tentacles? Well, yeah, everyone loves tentacles. If you was expecting to find any of these things in Fetish Grab Bag, then you are crazy.
Okay, firstly let's talk about the artist a little. If you know anything about the artist, you'll know that none of the fetishes I mentioned are really his thing. So if you knew that, you'd know when buying this title that none of those things would be in here. Joji Manabe happens to be a rather popular H-mangaka here in the States. His most known series is probably Ringatsu Mama, which I'll get around to reviewing one day.
Me having already read Ringet's Mama a few years back before it was available in the States, I'm sure Fetish Grab Bag will be on quite the soft-core and romantic side, as every series I've read from him has been that way. So without any further procrastination, join me in a review of Fetish Grab Bag by Joji Manabe.
Fetish Grab Bag is a compilation of 8 separate short stories, so that normally means that there really isn't too much story or character development in each story. The number of pages allotted to a single story is normally that of your average weekly shonen manga series, so around 15 to 23 pages. That being said, I'm just going to go through a brief description of each story without too much detail, and maybe I won't spoil too much. The first story is entitled Swimmer's High. The female protagonist from this one happens to be on the cover. So with it being the first story and with the female from it being on the cover, I'm guessing it was the artist's personal pick from this anthology. And that may be for good reason. It's a solid read through to the end. It starts and ends accomplishing everything it set out to. Now on to the second story, Look Heart Snap. It's about a former cosplayer turned tease model turned porn star. Not much to say with this one. Third story, Cheer Up, has basketball as a back plot point. Now, since I hate sports with all of my being, I was tempted to skip this story. Thankfully, it's hentai, so I muscled my way through it, and I'm glad I did because it's a decent story with a lot of comedy involved. Next up, Maid X Maid. It's probably the closest thing to being a fetish-like story in the book. It has a boy cross-dressing into a girl maid outfit, for certain reasons, and the main female lead is a total tsundere. In previous stories, it has a decent amount of comedy and plot development. Bunny Bunny, an incredibly predictable story with comedy thrown in. Simple formula, but it works. Girl goes on date with guy, they do it, the end. Well, she was in a bunny outfit, so it was pretty hot. Almost as hot as Bulma from Dragon Ball. Due to the rest of the stories being nearly the same and me running out of creative ways of describing the stories without spoiling it, I'm going to go on without detailing Under the Window, Poolside Memory, and A Wife's Work Is Never Done. On to the art. If you've read Joji Manabe's works before, this doesn't really look any different. That wider line, thicker woman, less detailed look to it. Sounds like I'm putting his art down. I'm really not. As I enjoy the feel his art gives off in general. He pulls it off quite well, as some examples to if you would enjoy his art or not. If you've ever seen Read or Die or Ai Yori Aoshi, it's kind of similar to those.
All in all, with a fair amount of comedy, with mostly good to great stories, and having almost no relation to the title at all, I'd say buy it. And not just because I'm a Joji Manabe fan, but because for an anthology manga, it pulls together quite well, with the stories all doing well in what they set out for the most part. I'd say the only downside is the full whiteout censoring, but even in Japan, Manabe's works have full whiteout censoring, so what can you do?
So after having a team of creative dwarf/butterfly hybrids read my review, they've informed me that it should have a solid score of 6 out of 10. With it doing everything it could do as one-shots put together, and not doing anything strange as I was expecting from the title, I find this to be a good score. So until next time, 5 years from now at my rate, enjoy fapping until the next review.